I'm going to talk a little bit about music and meaning. Music is an artistic expression requiring talent, awareness, technique, stylistic consciousness, self-discipline, commitment, and practice. A little personal history. I love music. I guess most of you know that. My music career and journey is taking me many places and has afforded me opportunities to participate in some pretty high-profile gigs. I have had responsibilities as a side musician with bands ranging from jazz quartets to huge pop and rock shows in arenas and stadiums, to leading groups of my own, producing albums, composing for film and TV, and music education, music direction, some of the most prestigious live shows and television events. I come to you today to speak from the vantage point of a practitioner who is also an educator. For some of you, my experiences as a music student may sound familiar. I was brought into the musical fold via classical music, playing classical piano, 5 years old, after taking 3 years of a class called Eurythmics, which was designed as music and movement for children. This was initially a graduate course for college kids in music education to observe small children and develop certain theories about how small children would respond to musical sound. This later became the Coburn School of Performing Arts, which is not too far from here in Los Angeles. I had the good fortune of having wonderful teachers who worked with me to learn to play important piano repertoire and to develop good piano technique. When I was 10, Dr. Dorothy Bishop, who was head of that preparatory department for young kids, became my piano teacher. Her emphasis included the communication of music through the awareness of style, phrasing, consciousness of form, harmonic theory, recurring motifs, historical and social context. When I was a kid, this was all just a bunch of seemingly unnecessary information. At 10 years old, I just wanted to play the right notes and keep it moving. I had other things to do, like roller skate and ride bikes with my friends. For some reason, Miss Bishop tolerated my superficial boredom with all of her explanations and demonstrations during my weekly piano lessons. When I wanted to play for her the James Brown or Beatles song that I had picked up from the radio, instead of the Bach or Brahms piece that I was assigned to have prepared for my lesson, she would not only indulge me, but deftly blend and twist and modify the lesson so that she related those pieces to one another. She was downright motivating. My mom later told me Miss Bishop would just say to her, just get her here and keep her coming. I guess she knew that eventually her words and her actions would get through to me. And they did. I studied with her until I was 17 years old, entering college at the University of Southern California, majoring in music education and piano performance, classical piano performance. USC at that time had no jazz and certainly no popular music studies of any type at that time. So I'm really stoked at how far we've come. Also during those years, my parents, who didn't play any instruments but were lovers of great music, loaded their turntable with recordings that they ordered from the Columbia Record Club, a monthly club that would send you recordings. We got Ella Fitzgerald, Miles Davis, Perry Como, Frank Sinatra, Ray Charles, Schubert, Chopin, Aretha Franklin, Duke Ellington records, all these different kinds of music. Songs from the freedom fighters during the civil rights movement, songs of the Flower Children, Joan Baez, Bob Dylan, Simon and Garfunkel, Rolling Stones. They played them back to back for hours and hours. Music was around me all the time, at church, in the home, and at school. Now I mention this because I think this was the start of the development of my eclectic musical tastes and vocabulary. No stylistic limitations or barriers, only the recognition of that which had special qualities indeed, but more in keeping with the level of feeling and communication than by category. I could also witness firsthand how music not only touched me, but touched the lives of the people around me. I grew up in South Central Los Angeles, and for many years, the lady who lived directly across the street from me would occasionally have rehearsals in her garage. It was a small group, and she sang a mean blues, and some of the most soulful rhythm and blues I have heard to this day. Her name was Etta James. During those Saturday rehearsals, I would watch my parents throw the doors and windows open, even if it was a cold day, so we could hear better. As a high school student, I attended a new school in the community at the time. The music program there was led by 3 caring and daring individuals who used the music program as one way to encourage us to stay off the streets and keep busy. One of the many devices they used to help us learn not only music, but African American culture was jazz. We regularly took field trips, not only to the concert halls to be exposed to the LA Philharmonic, but also to certain jazz clubs, where we were allowed to sit in the back, drink fruit punch, and watch and listen to the masters of this music in their laboratories, dealing, expanding, exploring. I heard a lot of the greats, and the experience of seeing these musicians was very important for my development. One can learn so much from observing. During these same years at the same high school, an up-and-coming band used our multi-purpose room for rehearsals occasionally. We were encouraged to watch them and listen as they developed their sound and early presentation. That band was Earth, Wind, and Fire. Observing Maurice White's process with this band and the steps taken to get that groove was an unforgettable experience. I rely on some of what I saw then to this day. Plus, it's pretty cool that Earth, Wind, and Fire played my high school prom. So. Really, for real. For a long time, though I'd played piano for well over a decade, it wasn't really until high school that I began to sense that what I wanted to do as my life's work was music. The biggest challenge for me was that I wanted to play, I wanted to write, I wanted to conduct, I wanted to record contemporary music. My higher education in this area of music became the school of experience. I had learned how to observe, conceptualize, and take it in. I eventually connected the dots. I began to determine what I wanted in the way of a career in music, even though I wasn't sure of the path of how to get there. Certain artists and master practitioners with whom I worked showed me what I lacked, told me what I needed, and I did the work. It was the exposure to all of these things that informed my musical sensibilities and aesthetic. I was lucky, coming up in a place and at a time when I could get certain information and see examples of what certain musical careers could look like. I went to college at the insistence of my parents. This was a safe bet as a music student in their eyes. This was several years, as I said before, jazz studies was part of most higher education offerings, and there was certainly no popular music study at the time. I was a music education major with this classical piano performance minor with the intention of doing neither. It was fine, and I did well, but it's not what I really wanted. This brings me to the point of the why and the how and the what that would become my journey for the meaning in the music that I wanted to play, the art form that I wanted to be a part of and to contribute to. Why is your belief? You do this because you must do it. It is your truth. your reason, your way of doing and being who you are. It is the way you resonate with creation. It is the most important question and answer for yourself that you'll ever have. What is about the action that you will take to make your why come alive, to make it happen, the plan, the goal? How is the specific execution of those plans, those goals that achieve your why? You can see the relevance of having a high artistic aesthetic and commercial sensibilities, no matter what kind of music that you're doing. You want your music to be heard. You want your process to be respected. And that's what you want in all of the music, regardless of the style. And everything that I kept hearing and everything that I kept seeing and the people and the audiences that I would meet kept assuring me, evidenced by their presence, their excitement, because I was present and excited, that it was possible. What are you going to do? We are all learning that we are part of a long musical lineage and continuum. Cultural contributions of art, from folk songs, religious practices, joy, pain, feelings of oppression, feelings of confusion, feelings of straight up fun, many expressions of the human condition. Music expresses feeling. Ever wonder why we close our eyes when we pray, or when we cry, when we dream, or when we kiss? Could it be because we know that the most beautiful things in life are not seen, but felt by the heart? As artists, our passion and our purpose must meet. Music is one language of many dialects. Our job, to continue to celebrate all of that as we discover our individual and collective why. Thank you for listening.